Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is a wet, rainy day, and I have some things to show you. I started super detailing my mixed northern bog forest yesterday, detailing up the larches. I was going to start on the spruce today, but I don't have time because I was out buying pots at Sophie's pottery studio. I'll show you what I got. And I hope you can see something very, very large. Right here, there is a super large pot here, and it is really, really nice. So this pot was made especially for my root over temple planting, the first one I made. And it was made by Sophie. It's the largest pot she has ever made. And it turned out beautiful. This is that gray clay, the very textured clay. And Sophie mentioned that she was burnishing the lip of the pot here. And you can see how it's changed the color of the clay after firing, which is really cool. So there's a lot of different shades in this pot. Going from like a sort of a tan color to a stone kind of gray color. So really, really nice. So I think it's going to look fantastic in here, the temple. The depth of the pot is just right, the diameter is just right, and the color and texture is just, it should look really good. So that will be for another video. Beside the giant pot, I bought another pot, and I couldn't resist it. It has like a matte glaze on it. And it's, I don't know, it's just beautiful. It's fantastic. Look at the colors in there. It's a nice size too. It's not too big, not too small. It sort of matches a lot of the size of trees I have. So I was very happy to see that, and yeah, I'm glad I purchased that. So that was $100. It's a high-fired clay pot. This one over here was more. That was a look at the new pots here in the Bonsai Zone. I also want to show you a notebook that John from the Macedo Club made for me. Thanks, John. It's just wonderful. I'll show you that now. Here is a look at the book that John made for me. He did all this leather work himself, embossed the Bonsai Zone into the cover, which is fantastic. So there's a piece of leather saying "To Nigel," and we'll open it up. This reminds me of something like from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the journal. It's really cool. Look at this. So there you go. It fits any common size notebook. So what I'm going to use this book for is I want to it's not closing for some reason here. Hold on. There. I want to use this book to do sketches in. So if I'm saying, you know, this is what I envisioned for this tree, I'll draw a little sketch so you can see what it looks like, and then we can always come back in future videos and see if the tree is starting to look like the sketch or not. Maybe I'll have to modify the sketch, or maybe the tree will start to look like the sketch. That is the goal. So that's what I'm going to use this book for, is a journal of future sketches and ideas. So if I have an idea for maybe a forest composition or a pot or anything like that, bonsai related, I'll sketch it up in this book, and this will be the official Bonsai Zone Book of Dreams, I guess. That's what I'll call it. The Bonsai Zone Book of Dreams. So thanks very much, John. This is a treasure. I made a video recently with my bird's nest spruce, and I was trying out different stands and ideas for display for this. And in the end, I didn't have a stand that suited the tree at all. So, once again, my bonsai friends came to the rescue. First of all, Matt, who makes all kinds of cool stands, he said, if you can't find a stand, send me the dimensions and I'll make you one for the show. So, thanks a lot, Matt. That was very, very nice of you. I also got, Josh contacted me, and he said, Nigel, I think I have the perfect stand for your bird's nest spruce. In the video I described, I wanted something a little higher to elevate the tree because I didn't want it so low on the table that no one would notice it. and you know, the size that fits this pot nicely. And so I met up with Josh and he gave me 2 stands. I'll show you the first stand that is intended for the bird's nest spruce, and we'll try it out and see how it looks. Here is a look at the stand. So you can see it gets the tree up to a nice height from the table. The stand, I think the size is really good for the tree, and the color is that reddish color, which should go nicely with the pot, I'm hoping. It's got some browns in it, some reds, so let's try it out and see how it looks. Alright, I'll place the tree on the stand very carefully. You have to make sure there's no dust or sand on the bottom of the feet, first of all. And then you place it on very, very carefully. You don't want to slide it around or it'll scratch the finish. And it looks like it's fitting really nicely with the inner square, which is totally cool. Some people put a little cloth under here, position the tree, and then lift it up and move the cloth out so it doesn't scratch the surface of the table. So there's a look at it. I'll step back and have a look. My first impression is it looks good. I love the height of it. I like the size of it. It's maybe a little fancy for the tree, but it's 95% of the way there, I think. Wow. I really like it. I think I would be proud to show the tree on this stand in the show. Let's fly in now and see the details. So you can see that the pot fits perfectly on the table. You can see that inner square of the pot is the perfect dimensions in every length and width. It just fits the table perfectly. This is the perfect size table for this tree. The height, I also think, is just perfect. It gets it up to a really nice viewing height. If this is, you know, approximately the height of the tables in the show, which I think it is, this is pretty typical of a table height. There are folding tables in the show, and yeah, they come up to about my hip. So this is the viewing height, and it's just perfect. I look like I'm fairly tall. I'm 6 foot, so I'm a little high, but I think for most people, you know, your eye wants to be level about here. So it's really good. Most people, well, if you're a little shorter, it's the perfect height to stand. If you're tall like me, maybe the stand could be another, you know, few centimeters taller. But it's good. It's again, these are like fine details that if you were to make a custom stand, this is what you would consider. The color, I think, it's hard to see it on camera, but if you look at the red color of the pot here, it does tone nicely with the stand, and it's different enough that it makes the pot stand out. If you got the stand too close to this color, then the stand and the pot would blend together and it would be not as effective. So I think it's a different enough of a color, and I think it looks good, the color. I again have no complaints about that. I think if anything, if I had to tweak it, I would say the stand, see the dark color here? If the whole stand was that dark color, I think it would be even better. But, you know, again, this is fine nitpicking. The other thing, this is a weeping spruce, and the stand has the sort of bamboo feet on it, the scallop feet, and it's quite fancy, the design in the middle. I don't think this tree needs a fancy stand because the tree has enough interesting features on it that you don't want to take your eyes away from the tree to look at these decorations on the stand. So again, if I were to nitpick this stand, something just like this, the darker color, and maybe a little more simple, like just rectangular feet or round feet, or and without the design here. Maybe, you know, maybe some geometric design rather than the leaves and the curls. Yeah, I think it would need something there. Maybe like some horizontal bars or some vertical bars, something, just to make it so the stand's not boring. You want the stand to kind of be a piece of art too. But yeah, definitely this is awesome. Thanks so much, Josh. It's like, whew, I've got a stand I can show this tree on in the Toronto show. I don't know what the foliage will look like in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, as of right now, this tree will be on display in the show. So I think, you know, the light spring green color, it's already starting to darken up a bit, and probably in 2 weeks it'll be even darker, which should still look fine. I think there's not much of the old growth on this tree. You can see it's all fresh new growth. There's a few of the older needles here and there, but not too much. So it's not like I have the spring contrast with the old dark needles, which always looks good in spring. The new growth versus the old growth. This is all you see is new growth. So if it darkens up, I don't think it changes the look of the tree at all. It maybe goes more from a light spring color to more of a darker summer color, but maybe it'll be somewhere in between. I haven't done any pinching on this tree. You can see the new shoots, they've elongated to about, that length, which isn't bad. So I'm going to leave this as is all summer, and then in fall I will prune it back, leaving only, this much growth, new growth on it. And then I'll get the back budding again for next spring. So again, building up vigor in the tree over the summer, pruning it back in fall or winter. And then in spring I'll get all that energy, will create all kinds of cool back buds. Giving more choices for styling, branches. Should be pretty nice. I'm so happy to have a stand for my bird's nest spruce so I can display it in the Toronto Bonsai Society's spring show and sale. That's happening in 2 weeks at Edwards Gardens in Toronto. Josh thought this stand would be the perfect stand for the tree, and Josh, you were right. It looks fantastic, so thanks very much. Now, I want to make this a 2-point display, so I'll have the tree on the stand, and I want to have an accent plant or rock or something beside it to complement the tree, maybe show the seasons or the location where the plant grows. So that's my next task, is to find something that looks good. And I'm going to try out several combinations today. And even if I don't have the perfect plant or rock or whatever, I hope I get a feeling for what I want in the future. So here we go. I'm looking at the bird's nest spruce, and the tree to me reminds me of a wind-blown kind of mountain tree that's seen a lot of hardships over the years. So beside it, as an accent plant, I think I want to convey that feeling that it's growing in a harsh environment, a mountain or something. So I think perhaps a stone would look good, or another small coniferous tree, something like that. And you can kind of see the flow of the top of the foliage kind of points down here. So I need something that fits here that continues that flow. So maybe something triangular shape down there would look good. I'm going to try my fern out. I think it's way too big. I think it'll look out of scale with the plant, but I'm just going to try it and see what kind of feeling that gives me. It's probably the wrong feeling, but here it is. So yes, it's way too large, out of scale. My eye actually goes to the fern first before the tree. It's overpowering. The pot is too big. The pot looks giant compared to the pot the spruce is in. So that is totally doesn't work. Also, the color of the fern is exactly the same as the spruce, which may be a good thing, but it may also be a little monotonous I think they compete because there's no distinction between the foliage colors. So yeah, that is totally out of the question. Next, I'll try one of my cryptomerias. It's not any bonsai pot or anything, but let me see. Okay, so It's hard to get a feel. I think right now the pot it's in, which is a plastic pot, that's about the right mass I want over there. However, the tree, that mass is all in the pot, not the tree. If I put that tree in a proper size bonsai pot that matches the tree, I think the accent here would be too insignificant. I think the tree is too small. I also, one thing I don't like to see in shows is that the cryptomeria has very fine foliage, and the bird's nest spruce is a little coarser or looser. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I find if you have a loose-leafed accent plant, something that's, the foliage is bigger than your display tree, it makes the display tree look finer and more delicate. Right now, it's like coarse foliage on your main tree and refined foliage down here, which you don't want. You want the tree to look good, not your accent plant. So I prefer something with coarser foliage to make the tree look tighter and more miniature. I'm going to try out this pot, which kind of matches the pot that the spruce is in. There it is. It's a different color, but I don't think in a good way. There's no color in this pot that is present in anything on the tree and stand and pot. So that's a write-off. It's like apples and oranges. It's just, there's nothing that ties these two items together. It's just terrible. Okay. I'm going to try my pomegranate. It's a tropical tree. It doesn't match the spruce, but I just want to try it out for size, see if it's, decent in any way. So there it is. So that's a different colored pot. It's a greeny colored pot, which kind of tones with the moss and that. It's not too bad. However, I don't think it gives a feeling of anything. Like, even if this was a hardy tree that would grow near the spruce, I don't think it doesn't do anything for the planting. It doesn't give me that mountain feeling. It doesn't give me that harsh windblown feeling. So I think it's just, again, there's nothing that ties these two elements of the display together. Nothing at all. So rule that out. Even though I don't think the pot is too bad with the tree. I'm going to try a stone next. This is a fairly large stone. It's a tan colored stone, so it may not go with much, but I'm going to try it anyway. All right, I think the display is getting closer. I think the color of the stone kind of matches the deadwood on the trunk here, and the tone of the pot, the reduction firing, has some elements of this color in it. It's a little big. It's overpowering. Like, again, you don't know which to look at, the stone or the tree. I think you naturally go to the tree first, but the stone is competing a little bit. It would have to be probably half that size, I would guess, to look good. I'll try some other stones out, see if I can find anything even close. All right, I have a smaller stone. It's very flat on the bottom. Let's try it out. I think I would want it that way. Yeah, that's not so good. I don't like that. Why don't I like it? I think, well, first of all, I'd have to rotate the rock a bit. And I think, let me get a tray to put the rock on. See what that looks like. So I would have to pretend this is a pot or something. A tray style pot. Let's see what that looks like. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, nah. I would need the stand color in the pot. I need something that ties these two elements together. So, yeah, this is going to be difficult, I think. Let me try. Let's say this was a stand, and I had a little miniature bonsai on it. Would that tie it together? That's better. Again, this pot here, this one, the little one, is not the right color, but it the pot upside down echoes the stand, and then the plant is about the right scale, and the foliage looks quite good with the spruce. So this is the best display I've tried out so far anyway. And the plants here, I'm not sure what they are. They grew from a seed, I think. I'm not really sure what they are, but there's something that grows in the backyard here. It's giving me ideas. I think maybe I'm on the right kind of track here. Let me try. Remember that unicorn stand? It's actually a music box. I can play you a bit of the tune. Probably get a copyright notice, but okay, it's the wrong color, the stand, but it's the right size and shape. I could stain my little thing here to match this, and I think that would tie it together quite nicely. Yeah, that would be quite nice. Now, the little plant here is just sitting on an udder tray. I would have to plant it in a pot, one of Sophie's pots. So let me try that out. Okay, I think, yes, I think this is quite good. If I were to stain the music box the same color as the stand here, I think the plant is good. The foliage density or scale of it matches the spruce really nicely. The pot is great. They're two of Sophie's pots. I think that would look really good. And I think the music box has kind of got a fancy top on it. It would match the fanciness of the stand also. So that's a good display. I will set that aside. Something to work on another video. Okay, I'm just going to look around my greenhouse here to see if there's anything else that could even be a remote possibility. I'm going to try out the pot that Isabella made, and I put sort of a slice of nature in it. I think it's way too big and coarse, but I'll try it. It's not too bad. It's better than I expected. But again, you know, if this accent plant were kind of half that size, both the plants and the pot, I think it would be nice. It gives me the impression of spring, the flowers, which are kind of dying off now. But yeah, something like that, if it was smaller, would be very, very nice with it, I think. It almost maybe gives you an alpine feel too. Maybe. Anyway, I'm glad I tried it because it shows you that something like that but smaller could work quite nicely. I'm going to try out the hawthorn beside it. It's in a training pot, and I just want to try something tall beside it. And the hawthorn is very tall. So I'll just try it out just to kind of see what it looks like. No, that doesn't work at all. It's a different scale, this plant. It's not miniaturized enough. It looks, even if I pruned it down to a height that's, underneath this stand, it would still look terrible. So that doesn't work at all. Now here's something interesting. I've got definitely a different green on the Arizona cypress versus the bird's nest spruce, and I like that. I think that's nice. because the two go well together. They have similar kind of needle-like foliage. Now, again, this is a bit finer than the bird's nest spruce, which isn't good. But it's interesting, the colors do look quite good together. Something to think about for the future. I still think the other planting with the music box and Sophie's pot is the stronger combination. So I think that's all I have to try out. Yeah, I think I've said this last year. I've got to get more accent plants and complement plantings and rocks and stuff available on the go and available for show trees, because it's something I'm lacking in, and that's partly because I've always shown trees in our KW club show, but never with proper stands and accent plants and focusing more on the artistic side of the display. I've just always displayed my trees so people can see what the tree is like. Now I'm kind of getting more into the trying to really bring out the best in the tree, I guess, is to make a pleasing display. I found it very interesting trying out different elements with my bird's nest spruce, trying out different display ideas, and now I have a better feel of what looks good with the bird's nest spruce. And I'll keep trying to refine that. If I find a better pot tree combination for my accent plant in the future, I can change it out, try it and change it out if it looks better. If not, I'll keep developing what I have. Josh also gave me another stand as a backup in case this one didn't fit or didn't look good. I'll show you that. I'll show you the bird's nest spruce on it. Here is a look at the other stand. It's a lower, darker stand. I'll place the tree on it. Again, being very careful. Like that. So there's a look at it on the stand. It's not too bad either. The dark color certainly makes the pot and the tree stand out. The stand almost, well, maybe because my background's black, it kind of disappears a bit. Which is not a bad thing, It certainly puts the emphasis on the tree, but I don't think the height is very good. People will be looking down at the tree. It's better to get the tree elevated. I think this is a nice stand, but it's just not meant for this tree. I'm going to try my thuja root over rock on the stand just to see what it looks like. See if it looks better than the white stand I had it on. There it is. It's not doing anything for me. There's no black in the whole planting that matches the stand. There's nothing really. I'm going to try the white stand again. So here I go, just to see if it looks better on the white stand, or were my eyes playing tricks on me the other day. There it is on the white stand. Let me move it back just a bit. I think it looks better on the white stand. It's very unusual looking, but it ties the stand in with the rock, and I think some people are going to hate this white stand, and others will like it, maybe. I don't know. I still think the white stand is better than the black stand. At least the white stand has some color tie-in with the tree and with the rock. So far it's still the white stand for the Thuja occidentalis. If this goes in the show, I think it's looking better. Tough call. I think by fall it'll definitely have filled out and I'll have a better shape to the trees. So it's a tough call. I don't want to put a tree in the show if it's not potentially at its best. Like if it's a matter of waiting, a few months to really make the tree look fantastic, I would rather do that and show it then than kind of jump the gun with kind of foliage that's kind of half developing, sort of half filled in, not show ready, I guess. So yeah, I may not show this tree this spring. It may be one that'll wait till later. I guess I'll know in 2 weeks. I don't expect it to really fill in and look good in 2 weeks. So yeah, it may be one that, again, we'll just have to wait. Out of curiosity, I want to try and find a tree that really suits the stand, that looks really good on it. So I'm going to try and do that now. Here is a look at what my juniper would look like on this stand. The stand's a bit long for it, and it's a little narrow width-wise. And I think it's just a little dark for this tree. Even though there is some black in the trunk here, I think there's just, I don't know, too much of a contrast. It just, I think I either need like a light glazed pot or a dark pot to go with the stand. I'll try out some different ideas. Here's a look at my semi-cascade lemon tree. It's in a blue pot, and I think, you know, this is on the right track, that you need a color glazed pot on the dark stand. This pot isn't suitable for this stand. It's, you know, needs a stand that's half that size, but I think this is the right track, that you need something colorful so the dark stand brings out the color of the pot. Let me try my Pyrenean oak. It's in an off-white pot. Here is a look at the Pyrenean oak. So again, the pot isn't the right size for the stand, but you can see the color is pretty good, that the glazed pot looks good with the black stand. So I think, you know, a glazed pot, a colorful glazed pot, the right size would really suit this stand. Here's a pot that David from the Toronto Club made, sort of that Northern Lights glaze. Again, it looks very nice with the black stand. It brings out the colors of the pot, and it certainly brings out the whole pot and tree combination. So this is my nightshade vine. I'm still hoping to get something sprout on that one branch, but nothing yet. The last combination I'll try today is my forsythia planting in the dark kind of blue pot on the black stand. And I think that is probably my favorite combination so far. And if you can imagine the forsythia more developed and in yellow flowers, it would look spectacular, I think. So yeah, the right size glazed pot with this black stand would, I think, just look excellent. And if you had a flowering species, I think that would just be the icing on the cake. You know, a cherry tree or a crabapple or something like that. I think that stand would really, really bring out that tree. I want to thank Sophie for volunteering to make me that giant pot for my ficus root over temple planting. I think it's going to look really, really good in the pot. I can't wait to plant it, so thanks, Sophie. I want to thank John for making me that leather-bound notebook and sketch pad. I think I'll have a lot of fun kind of drawing out my trees, predicting the future, and seeing if it comes true. So thanks a lot, John. I want to thank Matt for volunteering to make me a stand on such short notice for my bird's nest spruce 2 weeks before the show. And Josh for lending me some stands for the show that were the perfect stand for my bird's nest spruce. So thanks a lot, Josh. I also want to thank all my viewers and subscribers of the Bonsai Zone, because last night the channel just clicked over to 200,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. Everyone out there has made YouTube a very positive experience for me. So thank you very, very much. In tomorrow's video, I'll be continuing the work on my mixed northern bog forest. I have to think of a better name for that. I'll have to think of a more poetic name. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Yeah, I'll be continuing the work on that tomorrow, detailing up the spruce. And then I still have to do the landscape, the moss and that. And I was thinking, here's my thoughts. Right now I have the larch in front of the spruce. So in autumn, the larch turn their golden yellow, and the backdrop of the spruce really makes that golden yellow, it highlights it, so it has a dark background and it really shows off the yellow color of the larch. So that's one element. The forest looks really cool in fall when the larch go into their fall colors. I was also thinking, to get another season out of it, I need some flowers in front of the trees. So maybe some little tiny miniature flowers. to give a spring feeling to the planting. So in spring I get the flowers in the forest with the fresh new green growth on the trees. So I have that element, the flowers and the trees. And then in fall I have the larch and the trees. The flowers will probably die off by then. So that's what I'm thinking, to get a real spring feeling to the forest, is to have some little miniature flowers planted out front in the forest or amongst the trees to give you that spring feeling. So I'm going to be working on the landscape in a third video, I think. I think tomorrow I'll just get my spruce done. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.